start. I'd like to call to order the June 20th, 2022 Brooklyn City Board of Education regular meeting. Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier.
Here.
Ms. Krall. Here. Mr. Neale.
Here.
Mr. Slattery.
Here.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Here, can we all stand for the pledge, please? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. In order for the board to fulfill its obligation to complete the planned agenda in an effective and efficient fashion, a maximum of 30 minutes of public participation as it pertains to school-related topics is permitted at each meeting. For each person wishing to address the board will approach the podium, state his or her name and address. If several people wish to speak, each person will be allotted 3 minutes until the total time of 30 minutes has been used. During that time period, no person may speak twice until all who desire to speak have had the opportunity to do so. The period of public participation may be extended by a vote of the majority of the board. Do anyone wishing to speak tonight? Okay. Now on to our superintendent's report, Dr. Ted Polaris.
Good morning, Mrs. Bartczak. Good morning. Good evening, Mrs. Bartczak, Board of Education. I'd like to turn my portion of the board meeting over to Mr. Mike Becker, our Director of Athletics. We're going to take a little time to honor our 2022 state champ. Mr. Becker. Is in the house.
Members of the Board of Education, Dr. Polaris, Mrs. Aholt, Mr. Hare, Jenna Young, the Young family, and all of Jenna's coaches that are in attendance this evening. On behalf of the Brooklyn Board of Education and the entire Brooklyn City School District school community, we proudly congratulate Jenna Young, the 2022 Ohio High School Athletic Association Division II Girls High Jump State Champion. As a Brooklyn High School student athlete, Jenna has represented our school and our community with pride and excellence. She is a standout student athlete with many accomplishments during the 2022 track and field season. These include being voted CVC First Team All-Conference in both the high jump and the 100-meter hurdles, being voted CVC Second Team All-Conference in the long jump. She is CVC Metro Division Field Event MVP. She won the Doug Amari Field Event MVP in the Cuyahoga Heights Relays. She's the Division II District Champion and new district record holder in girls high jump. She's the Division II Regional Qualifier in long jump and 100-meter hurdles. She's the Brooklyn High School Varsity Girls MVP. She was also voted 2022 All-Ohio in track and field and 2022 Academic All-Ohio track and field team. And lastly, but certainly not least, she is the 2022 OHSAA Division II High Jump Girls State Champion. Congratulations on your outstanding athletic and academic achievements this school year. And on a personal note, watching all of the hard work that you put in and all of the effort and just watching you as a high character person, it couldn't have happened to a better young lady. And I also should say that watching her reaction after she cleared 5'7", and then watching her reaction when she figured out that she was the state champ, it was definitely one of the best things that I've ever seen in high school athletics.
Awesome.
I look forward to doing it again next year. No pressure or anything. Before we award Jenna with some more hardware for her to take home, I'd like to recognize the Board of Education and the administration for all of their support this year. I'd also like to recognize all of her coaches, the Brooklyn coaches, head coach Kyle Akins, assistant coach Jason Hubble, Jackie Field, and Dan Meningen. I'd also like to recognize and thank Coach Doug Amari and the rest of the Cuyahoga Heights coaching staff for all their guidance and efforts during the indoor track season. At this time, I would like to invite up head coach Kyle Akins to say a few words on Jenna's part.
Thank you. So as many or most of you probably know, I also coach basketball here at Brooklyn High School. And usually it comes down to the end of the year, and then there'll be a loss in the district tournament. And I'll say, every team ends their season with a loss. That's how the sport works. That's how almost all the sports work here. Every team, unless you're going to win a state championship, every team ends with a loss. And usually that's a building tool for seniors, something to remember, like, okay, you feel like this now if you've accomplished things along the way. But I put in there that unless you win a state championship, Mark, and most of the time that's not a realistic goal or expectation. But in this case, as I turn to Ms. Jenna Young, that is in fact the case. And not only did she not lose in the state championship meet, she did not lose the high jump in a single meet this season. So obviously that's a super special accomplishment. I couldn't be proud of her, everyone here couldn't be proud of her. So, right afterwards, we got a little bit of chance to celebrate. We're waiting for the podium ceremony. Some time to reflect. I turned to Jenna, we were just us sitting there with some other athletes, and we've been working towards this for the last 5 years. And that's pretty cool. That's longer than a high school career. I've been working with Jenna, and I'll use this time to thank my assistant coaches, Jason Hubble, Jackie Field, and Dan Menigan, who've worked along with her, along with everyone else. It's not just our effort, it's her parents. Again, I'll thank the coaching staff at Cuyahoga Heights and Doug Amari there for working with her, support from Mr. Becker, the administration, everyone here. But the dedication, the hard work, all of our work, doesn't mean anything if it's not for this lady right here, Jenna Young. And as a coach who's coached track for 9-10 years now, I haven't worked with anyone that works harder, is more dedicated, that enjoys track and field more, and puts more effort into it. Obviously she has a lot of talent. Win state championships with a lot of natural ability at this. But there's other girls out there that have that ability too. And what really sets Jenna apart is her dedication to it, day in and day out, her focus, commitment to track and field and high jump in particular, and that ability to rise up to the occasion when it's needed the most, as was the case a few weeks ago. So I just want to join everyone here in saying congratulations, Jenna. I know that because of the person that you are, that is excited and as happy as we are now, that you're going to come back next year just as hungry and just as focused towards committed to bigger and better goals, even than winning state championship. So again, I'll join the coaches and everyone here in congratulating Jenna Young, state champion.
Jenna, do you want to say anything? No. Okay.
You don't want to say anything? Sure. Okay.
You want to thank Mom and Dad? All right.
This time I'd like to invite all of the coaches down to the front so that I can award her with her All-Ohio certificates and her Division II Girls High Jump trophy. I will hold these, okay? Or coach will hold these, however they want to do this. I'll let you hold one. Okay, perfect.
Smile once, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Good job.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations, Jenna.
Just want to say thanks to everybody, thanks to the coaching staff, Mr. Becker, Mr. Hare, our friends from Cuyahoga Heights, Joe and Doug. Thank you for everything and in working with Jenna in the winter season and throughout the spring. Thank you to Mom and Dad for your gleaming positivity and support, and congratulations to our state champ. Great job.
Good job.
Now, our board meetings tend to not be too exciting. You're more than welcome to stay,
We're not offended.
but you're also more than welcome to leave. Very nice.
And they're on.
And there.
They're called board meetings.
That's board meeting, that's right.
Thanks for staying, Vern. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Bartczak, last comment I had, just want to wish everybody.
Bob, you're here.
Yeah. Thanks, Bobby.
So I wish everybody a great summer. Got about a little less than 60 days left before the first day of school.
Oh,
No,
God.
a little more than 60 days, I take that back. But we're
Have to put that in there,
excited.
didn't
We're
you?
excited for a great summer and hope everybody has time to relax and enjoy family and friends. And that's my report.
Thank you so much. Now under the treasurer's report, now Mrs. A.
I have the Ohio Checkbook presentation. The Ohio Checkbook is a collective effort to enhance transparency by providing real-time data. We had the representatives from Ohio Checkbook come at the last board meeting, and we thought it was very informative that we thought we would do a brief demo for this meeting. So they could not come in person, but she did record the demo for us. And I think the first 10 seconds are dead air, so don't be nervous if it doesn't start right away, but roll it, Bobby.
All right. Hello, Brooklyn City School District. My name is Elena Bowers, and I currently work on the Ohio Checkbook program in the Ohio Treasurer's Office. And I'm recording this because I'm unable to attend in person tonight due to our office observing Juneteenth, which is now a federal holiday. So I was able to come a few weeks ago and meet with Colleen and some of the school board members, which was fantastic. Got to meet the superintendent. And I had 2 other members of the Ohio Treasurer's Office with me. So it's nice to get back on the road and do some in-person meetings. But as we have come to find out, we can also do a lot of this via Zoom and Teams, thanks to the virtual meeting applications due to the pandemic. So we're grateful for both options, but I would have been there tonight if it had been for our office being closed today. So wanted to record this, and I'm sure this was brought up before this was played, but when I came a few weeks ago, I basically just did an overview of the Ohio Checkbook program, and then I got to show the school board and Colleen and the superintendent the actual checkbook site for Brooklyn City School District, which is great because right now the data itself is in what we call the preview mode. It's in the test environment, and it won't actually go on to publication until we get the final approval from the board. And we're hoping to do that sometime in July. And then, of course, at that time, the current fiscal year that we're in is going to be closed out. And so that data could also be uploaded into that portal and published as well very soon. So we'll get to that. Just want to introduce myself. What I'm going to do is I will share my screen and then kind of just go back and forth between the public site and then what we call the admin portal, which is where the data is housed currently. So this is the Ohio Checkbook website, and currently it is basically now a collaborative effort between the Ohio Treasurer's Office and the Office of Budget Management, because both of the offices have different responsibilities and functions now. But the Ohio Checkbook program was created back in 2015, 2016 in the Treasurer's Office. And at that time, we were showing state expenses, the state budget, state revenue, and then there was also a portal to show salaries for state employees and school employee salaries, which is always viewed quite frequently throughout the year. And then a year later, our office thought, well, we can do this type of display of data for the state. Why not try to offer this tool for local governments, which is what we did. Our public affairs team went around the state and worked with local governments, which consisted of townships, villages, cities, counties, special districts, which could include libraries, fire districts, and then, of course, school districts. And since about 2016 to now, we have close to 900 local government partners that are part of the Ohio Checkbook program that have partnered with us, have joined, and then they update their data. They update their individual site throughout the year. I would say that the bulk like to update every quarter, but some of our larger entities like to wait till they close out an entire fiscal year and then send us the data to post. So it's sort of a mixed bag of updates, but it is a voluntary program. we do currently, provide demos. We always are talking about the program when we go to meetings. So it's nice when entities reach out to us and say, oh, we've heard of this program over the years. We're on a new accounting system. We'd love to join. So that's kind of how this happened with Brooklyn City School District. So we're looking forward to the partnership. And then this website is the main website. Like I mentioned, there's State of Ohio, which is the state expenses and state budget. I won't go into that because it's a lot of different little portals, but I can at least show you. If you're ever interested in that, I like to bring that up. These are the sub portals within the state expenses. The salaries are state salaries, teacher salaries, and then pension employee salaries. And then local government in schools is where you will eventually find Brooklyn City School District's checkbook site in here. So currently I worked with Colleen, the finance department, and you'll notice that the 3 files here represent the fiscal years that are currently available for view when you do move on with publication. Obviously, we just closed out the most recent school fiscal year. So eventually we'll work with Colleen to get that most recent data file. But in the meantime, she wanted to provide the last 3 fiscal years here. So I'm going to go ahead and preview this. Okay. So government fund accounting has 2 parts to it. It is extremely detailed and easy to follow. And then the other side of it is that it can be very complicated depending on which accounting system you're working with. So when we created the checkbook, we kind of looked at all the accounting systems and all the transactions and how they could be viewed in terms of a payment report perspective. And we found that it was best to show transactions. Obviously, you want to see the vendor name, you want to see the amount, you have to see, the date that it was made. But pulling from certain fund department object groupings was the best way to organize those types of transactions the best way possible. So you'll notice on the left-hand side of the filters, you'll see there's the fund drop down, the department drop down, and then the object drop down. So this is a full listing of all the funds, departments, and objects that are currently used in the district. Transactions are being pulled out from different funds and different departments. And then obviously the payee filter is just right off the bat. You can click into this and look for certain vendor names. You can search for, name. If you see names in here, those which we confirmed a few weeks ago, those are actually reimbursements to employees. But this is just sort of a simple way to kind of see an overview of those vendor names as well. And then the colors on the default view represent the funds. So right now the parameters are organized by the fund. So these colors represent the top funds that are spent. But you can also organize it by department, by payee, or by object too. Again, when we were kind of creating this site back in 2020, when we did an update to it, we kind of felt that this was, again, the best way to organize those types of data combinations. But another feature that I like to use is if you hit View Expense Breakdown, this will actually generate a way that you can see every single fund, which is right here, used. But then you can also break it down by department. So if you wanted to see, okay, all the top funds and then all the top departments, you can see that, okay, within the general fund, these are all the top departments that were pulled from the general fund in this date range. You can also specify it by one single school year. You can get very specific and just choose certain dates within a year. But this is sort of a more overview of it. I would say that the default view is basically just, a way to organize aggregated spending across all of the fiscal years. We don't have a way to show revenue. We don't show anything related to budgets or tax data. It's strictly just a payment report that's extracted from the entity's accounting department or finance department, and we upload it, and then that's the way that it's organized. So I was able to meet with Colleen prior to the meeting I had in the district a few weeks ago, and we made sure that the vendor names looked correct, that the mapping was correct, and that everything was accurate in terms of totals, fund names, that type of thing. So what you're looking at is obviously a very accurate and detailed representation of those payment reports that I did receive from the finance department. All right, now let me go down. And this is the part where I would say, are there any questions? And obviously I can't do that. But what I'm gonna do is go down. I'm also doing this in one swoop, so I really hope I don't mess up and something breaks, because I'm tech savvy, I'd like to think, but we don't really have like a video editor application in our office. I don't think we do. So bear with me. I'm trying to pull up something real fast. Okay, so this is obviously default view, which I mentioned. We do not have a way to show all of the transactions kind of from, highest to lowest, alphabetical. When you go to the page, you don't see anything that's related to every single transaction. The only way that you can see detailed transactions is if you choose a grouping. So, the transaction date represented graphically is a reflection of every single transaction detail across the given fiscal year, and it allows observation of spending trends within a specific fund, department, and object, which I mentioned. So what I can do is I'll show you how you can actually see the transactions and where those kind of came back from. So within the fund, I will select food service fund. And when you select a fund, what that does is it kind of freezes it. And then you'll notice that obviously the color changed and the amount changed. So this is just representing, okay, from the food service fund, within these fiscal years, this is the amount spent. To make it a little bit easier for organization, I'm just going to select fiscal year 2021 as we move forward. Okay, so fiscal year 2021, the food service fund kind of froze it there. And then what that does is it allows you to choose a department pulled from that fund. So obviously we chose food service. The only departments that are pulled from food service fund are food purchasing and then service area direction. So I could easily click into this bar graph, and that's going to generate a full transactional summary report of all the transactions pulled from food service. But I'm just going to go ahead and choose food purchasing to kind of make it a little bit more detailed as we go forward. So then that makes it even more, more specialized there. It kind of froze both of those. So the groupings are an aggregated total of a particular grouping of the fund department objects in one fiscal year, but I could easily keep going and choose an object if I wanted to, which you'll notice that then that kind of phrases the object code and descriptions of showing that these are all of the objects pulled from the fund and the department that I chose. And I like to mention that on the checkbook, you will not see anything related to check descriptions, check memos, transaction descriptions, and that is to protect any type of sensitive information that may get tied up in those descriptions, because sometimes those in the finance department can kind of make notes there, and then that can kind of show up in the description column. So the most specific thing that you can see within a transaction is truly just, okay, what fund is it coming from? What department is it coming from? And then what object is it coming from? So within the object, I will just select food related supplies materials. I'll apply that. And then again, that just kind of froze everything. So then I'm going to click into this, which is $35,000. You'll notice that the summary is showing us the fund that we chose, the department we chose, and the object we chose. And then to actually see those transactions, you'll click in the amount and you'll hit view transaction details. And then this is where it shows you the actual transactions itself, sort of set up like an old school checkbook, if you will. You'll be able to see the payee, the date, and how much. So from food service, from the food purchasing department, food related supplies material, Gordon Food Services, I'm scrolling down. I don't know if you can notice that, but I am scrolling down within this little table. And it looks like they're the only vendor that was paid to from this specific grouping. And then another cool thing is you can see the trends. So if somebody really wanted to, be specialized in terms of transactions, or, okay, in an entire 3 fiscal year, how much money did we spend or send to Gordon Food Services? You could use this table and see the trends that way. But this is the most specific part you'll get on the checkbook. All right, and then I will go back to the overview. And I will refresh this. So again, I think the best way that, somebody could go to this website and just kind of want to see an overview of the vendor names, of the objects, the funds, is just from this filter section. This is just a way to kind of just see the overview by clicking in them quickly. But if you really wanted to see a full breakdown, this is how we kind of let our constituents know that this is a really great overview of seeing those funds and those departments. Obviously, school employee salary and names and titles are posted every year by our office, and we receive that data from the Ohio Department of Education. And so that was recently posted this, I think it was January, February. So the salaries are not necessarily included in this checkbook page. This is just all of the other expenses. You'll obviously see payroll in here, but it's not like you would be able to go into the payee list and search certain names. But that data is under the Ohio Checkbook salary portal. So I'll go back right here. So again, this is the part where I would ask questions, and I would have anyone let me know if they'd want to see anything else in terms of groupings of funds and departments. I believe that I did show the school board when I was there in person a few weeks ago, actually that specific grouping of just how to actually see those transactions and where they're pulled from. The most important thing is that when we were reviewing this with Colleen in the finance department, we just made sure that, number one, the amount was correct and that they were comfortable with how the vendor names were showing. And that's the most important thing, is that the data is accurate from the accounting system. Obviously, accounting systems can have their own issues of extracting data, but as long as the data is accurate and has integrity, we're ready to load it, ready to go live. And that's what we're here for. This website is a tool for local governments to use. And eventually, when the district does go live, they can actually put their own website link on the district website, housed with other financial documents that kind of empower transparency. So we're looking forward to partnering with the district. I think, if I remember correctly, this will be the 177th district to go live, possibly, which is exciting. So, like I said, I've been part of this program for a couple years now. I absolutely love it. It's been really nice to be part of these entities, communication, just working with them and getting to know a lot of the smaller entities throughout the different counties in Ohio. So we're really proud of this program. And I will just note that Colleen is welcome to give my email to anyone in attendance if they have any questions about this program. And if they have any questions about the data once it's published moving forward. We do have constituents that reach out and ask questions about certain things. And I always let the entity know, hey, we had somebody from your area reach out about a certain transaction, just wanted to put it on your radar. We did let them know, the answer to it, but we just always like to maintain that partnership moving forward. And this is an incredible tool for transparency. So thank you for letting me talk and record this. Again, this is my first time ever recording a presentation. So I'm hoping that this actually saves when I get done. If it doesn't, I'll do it again. But moving forward, again, if there's anything that the district needs, anyone else needs, Colleen's welcome to email me or give out my email. and we'll just wait to go from there. And I hope you all have a wonderful start to the week. So thank you so much for letting me be part of this, and have a great night.
I think since we are so close to the fiscal year end, that my recommendation was to go like after July 1, and then as the board decides, we could do a publication and move forward.
We had the conversation about updating quarterly, right?
Yes.
That was our goal?
Yeah, our goal was to update it quarterly.
Okay.
Yep.
We don't, and just a question for the group, we do not need to do anything by resolution, but does the board want to do a resolution in support of implementing this? I'm just asking, it would be something very simple. We don't have to, we're not permitted, we don't have to, but does the board want to do any type of resolution?
I don't see why not, in my opinion.
I think there's resolution.
I would suggest it because I think it's quite of a leap and a milestone for us for transparency. Just to announce to the
There should
world.
be a number 177.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah, no, I think we should, in my opinion.
So I'll put it on the, either the 12th, once we figure out the agendas for the 12th or the 19th of July, it'll appear on one of those. It would probably say under your site. Okay, all right, we'll get it up there. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify,
Yeah,
I just wanted
that's
to clarify, okay.
Perfect.
That was the end of my report.
Thank you. Now on to board members and board committee reports, and we're going to start off with Mr. Rob Slattery tonight.
We have not had a rec board meeting. I'm waiting for them to reschedule. I went to the council meeting. There was just, well, I'll leave it at that. There was not a whole lot. They're going back and forth on the zoning issues. They're having some more meetings. I believe there's a meeting on the, I don't want to be wrong here, the 23rd at 6:30, I believe it is,
Yeah.
at the senior center, talking about the zoning issues that affect a decent group of people. They're trying to push these row houses, and they're talking density. They want to drive the population up of the city. They want to make it a walking, they believe these houses will make the city more walkable. I don't understand that logic, or go see what they have to say. I mean, I formed my opinion, but I won't force it on you. As far as Jenna Young, I have to say it's a remarkable thing she's done. When I first ran and got on school board, it was shortly after the election. I was driving through the school zone, and there was a girl practicing the high jump, and they didn't even have all the equipment. I think Vern might have been there holding one of okay. And so I called somebody, said, hey, there's this kid practicing, and they said, oh, that's Jenna. She's going to be a state champ someday. Don't, just leave her alone. And I just went on my way, and she proved, whoever I called, she proved right, so good for her. Other than that, I have nothing. So congratulations to her. I mean, it's a lot of hard work. Hopefully she comes back and we can put another sign on the other side of Hurricane Alley.
That's right.
Be nice.
Thank you. Now on to Mr. Rocky Neale.
I'm going to open up my Polaris report. There was no food. All right. No, after 5 years, they brought back Camp Discovery after a 5-year break this past week, and it was very successful. It's a half-day learning. There were 125 kids, participants, all consortium schools at this time. They're looking possibly to expand it for next year, but it was a half-day program. And what they did is they offered backyard gaming, culinary creations, junior police academy, machining madness, mini makeovers, start your engines, take care of business, young broadcasters. So they offer a lot of 3-hour classes, 2.5-hour classes that that are very valuable down the road. There's a lot more to it. It's a wonderful program. They started back up, and I'm looking forward to it for next year as well too. We also, in the same meeting, passed our student handbook, the adult education fees. The treasurer created a QR code for the financial information, so if you want to get a QR code instead of mailing everything, you can put it on your phone nowadays with all that fancy good stuff. So that was something they brought to the table. And then Technology, for Brooklyn City Schools, we will have a meeting soon. We have a new gentleman coming in, and I'm sure he's getting himself established. Dave, right?
Dave Walls,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
So, policy committee, we have not had one. My legislative part is truly somewhat legislative in a way. Today I watched part of a state school board meeting. Where am I gonna start? One of the gentlemen, Mike Toll, I think his name is, District 8, 9, I forget where he's from. Simple solution, let's get back to some basics. Reading, writing, arithmetic. That was part of it. And then they voted on, 24 days, the last superintendent resigned. So instead of going back, and this is part of my inefficiencies of government, they have 3 candidates, 1 leaves, and now they're gonna look for 2 new, more candidates, not have a superintendent for a while. So I just take the guy that's in second place, you know what I mean, who was within 24 days. Why not just do that? So anyway, it was, I'm fortunate enough that I could watch some of it, but I get a little disturbed at watching some of it as well too. So it is what it is. Anyway, that was part of my legislative, just a little frustration. Get back to the basics. Congrats to the class of 2022. I want to thank all those who put the graduation on, did a nice job. We got lucky, the weather was a little cool. Mrs. Bartczak said she was cold, but she got through it all right.
I survived. Okay.
You survived. But it was a nice night. Congratulations to all those kids. They did a wonderful job. Jenna Young, outstanding. Being a track and field guy myself at Rhodes, really enjoy track and field. I still watch all of the repeats tonight on TV now. So this is a wonderful thing. And the only other thing I have to say, enjoy the summer, be safe, don't do anything foolish. All right, end of report.
Amen to that. Now on to Ms. Kelly Krall.
For the Finance Committee, all I have is the Ohio Checkbook, which I think is a good start. I think especially now, and I think if anybody has any questions, I think it looks user friendly. So I'm kind of excited to go live and kind of see what is out there and what kind of questions we might get. I do have a question though. Is if a resident goes out and looks at something and they want more detail, do they get more detail, or is it, what's out there is what's out there? So I guess I'm just curious, like if you were to do a public records request.
Yeah, I think everything's public, like everything's open to public record request, the only information, so whatever the more detail would be, we would just have to make sure that we redact all that personal information or just any type of information specific to students or staff, just some of those identifiers, but everything's open to public records request.
So, I mean, I think it's a good start. I'm excited for it to go live. Participated in my first graduation, which was kind of exciting. There was the 2 boys in the back. I don't know if they're brothers, because they were sitting next to each other, that they got their associate's degree and their high school diploma, which I think is pretty cool. That's a lot of work. I'm just saying, to do both, that's a lot of work. So congratulations to them. I think that's pretty cool. And have a good summer. That's all I got.
Thank you. Now on to Mr. Rick Cyngier.
Good evening, President. Well, I just want to kind of expand on Jenna Young. It'd be nice if the city were to place, and I don't know what the procedure is, of placing signs. I put on 1,700 miles this weekend. And it's nice when you go to drive in a community, a small community, and you see state champions as you drive in. It's funny, you really notice it because you see Division III, Division IV state champions. And it'd be nice to have something like that in Brooklyn.
If I may, I did communicate with I think Joe Ludwig over at the city. They're gonna be putting something up at the boundaries they gave, and they also were thankful. We're thankful that they gave us a sign that we got right there in Rebel and Hurricane Alley. So Yeah,
Is it
from
up
what I
already?
understand, I didn't see the other ones on the boundaries, but I know ours is up already, so thanks to the city for that.
Use Mrs. Bartczak's house.
No, I think, you know, Jenna, whether she knows or not, is kind of our spokesperson for our field and track, and with all the money that we're spending on field and track, you know, people can see, they can tie the two together and say, here's the efforts, the results of all the efforts that we're putting in to the field and the track program. And then as a result, we get people like Jenna who will excel not only in athletics, but academia as well. So, and I just want to kind of a segue on what Kelly said about the Ohio Checkbook program. I think once we institute this program, which I think we will successfully, it'll bring about a lot of transparency. You know, the one thing issue that I've always had as a board member for the last 10 years is to look at the food service to see whether or not there's any cost savings. And I've always, you know, being an accountant in my past years, it's always, if you can't measure it, you know, how do you know if you're doing a good job or not? You know, just because you're spending the money doesn't mean that you're effective. There might be better ways to have that kind of effectiveness. And I think this transparency and accountability will really kind of help lead through. And as a side note, I'm thinking that perhaps when people see that we're transparent with the way we spend money here at Brooklyn City Schools, that perhaps City Council and the Mayor's Office will pick up the gauntlet and do the same by signing Brooklyn up. So people can look at what Brooklyn's spending on their services and have the same kind of transparency. So anyway, nice to be back to Brooklyn.
You know, it's funny, I actually spoke to somebody about this program. I told him we were doing this, and he works in the contracting field, and he says he gets contracts with government, you know, city, schools, the whole nine yards, and that's one of the first places he checks to see for past years to kind of get an idea, you know,
Their track record.
well, what other quotes they're getting and accepting, and so he does his research due diligence that way, so I thought that was kind of interesting.
Thank you, Mr. Cyngier. I also would like to congratulate the class of 2022 graduates. I was cold, but it was a beautiful night. I think every year graduation is definitely my favorite part of being a board member. It's something that you get to see and be part of and see how our students and their success, and it's just something, it's a very special day. And I feel very honored every year to be able to be a part of it. It's truly an honor for me to be able to be, to hand someone their diploma and all the hard work that they've put in to do it is a big deal to me. It means a lot. So as for Jenna, I agree with Mr. Cyngier. I hope the city, you know, does, and like, so I'm glad to hear that they're going to put something.
Yeah, I don't know exactly when it is, but I know that they definitely plan to do it at the boundaries.
Yeah, because I think there is some of the cities, I think it's like it's either like Independence, Cuyahoga Heights, some of those, they have the signs like right, you know, like right underneath.
Welcome to Brooklyn, and then it's right there.
It would say like, welcome to Brooklyn, Division II State Champion Jenna Young. Yeah, I think that's very cool.
So do we have welcome to Brooklyn signs as we, where?
Ridge, Brook Park, there's got to be one on Brook Park. There's one on Ridge before your house, like the street before your house. There's one right there on Ridge.
You know what, I'll call Jill.
There was one in Memphis.
I'll find out where they're
Here's the question, is there a chance?
Yeah, there is one by the post office here on Bidoff. There is. I mean, on all of them, I
We
think it
have the
should be.
mural up on Ridge Road, is there a chance, there's still a lot of wall there?
There's a lot of wall
Any
there.
chance the art program could do something?
Potentially, yeah, I just gotta talk to Chris when we get back in the fall, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but I'll find out for the boundaries where they're at.
Anybody else experience this when we were handing out the diplomas? Just a couple of the kids, because we each did the 2 rows. Man, a couple of those kids, they couldn't get the diploma in their hands fast enough. They like got a death grip on it, like, I can't believe I'm actually getting them. They were like so happy, it was just comical.
So I hope that the city would put them out at each of one of the signs though, because I don't know exactly how many we have, but I know there's at least, like, I would guess there's at least 4 of them that I think to recognize Jenna, it's a big deal, and it's something that I think would be very cool for us as a city. I know I love the one on Hurricane Alley. That one's awesome, and I just hope that
And they did that for us.
Well,
I
they're
mean,
doing
that's-
signs in-house now. They
Yeah,
have this
so I-
Bob
like I said,
Kapler's doing,
Jill-
he does a really nice job.
Yeah.
Jill called me probably 2 weeks ago before their council meeting, and I
Did we
just,
send out a thank you to them?
oh, yeah, and it was such a phenomenal idea. I said absolutely, whatever we need. I thought it was great, so.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. And then I hope everyone has a nice summer. I hope it's more than 60 days until school starts.
It's actually 64 for the
Oh
first
my
student day.
goodness.
It's not that we're counting.
Not that anyone's counting on. That's, oh boy, it's only 60-some days left for kids. If anyone would like to speak to me about anything of school board related, they can always reach me at 216-406-4304. And now we're on to the reading of tonight's minutes and approval items. And tonight's reader is Mr. Rob Slattery.
Thank you. Resolved that the minutes of the Brooklyn Board of Education meeting be adopted and all action taken by the Board of Education at said meeting is hereby reaffirmed and approved.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Ms. Krall.
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolved that Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby commends the following students for their academic and athletic achievements as noted in the attachment.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Congratulations. Nice.
Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Ms. Krall.
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Okay, we've already done 4.2.
If
We
If
want
we could
that
just
read
do,
again?
if we could just do an official vote for.
Oh,
it,
absolutely.
then we don't
Yeah,
need to
no,
read it,
absolutely.
but if we could
No,
just do an
I'll read,
official
no,
vote,
that's
yeah,
fine. On behalf of the Brooklyn Board of Education and the entire Brooklyn City School District community, we proudly congratulate Jenna Young, 2022 Ohio High School Athletic Division II High Jump State Champion. As a Brooklyn High School student athlete, Jenna has represented our school and community with pride and excellence. A standout student athlete with many accomplishments during the 2022 track and field season, including CVC First Team All-Conference High Jump, CVC First Team All-Conference 100 Hurdles, CVC Second Team All-Conference Long Jump, CVC Metro Division Field Event MVP, Doug Amari Field Event MVP for Cuyahoga Heights Relays, Division II District Champion, District Record High Jump, Division II Regional Qualifier Long Jump and 100 Hurdles, Brooklyn High School Varsity Girls MVP, and to start and ended 2022 OHSAA Division II High Jump State Champion. Congratulations on your outstanding athletic and academic achievements this school year.
Can we, by the Doug Amari Field event, we have a MVP? Put that in, okay.
Yep, got
Okay.
it.
And then, I'm gonna motion that one. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Good job.
Congratulations again.
Yep, wonderful.
Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Ms. Krall.
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the appointment of Sherry Godinsky and Sandra Neale as the approving and verification officials, and Dr. Ted Claris as the hearing official for the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education free and reduced lunch program for 2022/2023 school year.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Just a comment not regarding this specific resolution, just a reminder that federal government has removed the waivers for allowing school districts to provide free lunch for everybody for next school year. So we will be notifying families that we're going back to 2019 standards in terms of applying for free reduced. So just kind of want to get it out here as, publicly, we'll be sending information to families again, but just kind of FYI.
Is there any compliance issues that don't go along with the money?
No.
The directive?
No.
Anyone else? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Ms. Krall.
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
I'm going to abstain.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the attached Brooklyn School and Brooklyn High School Student Handbook for the 2022-2023 school year.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
I just have a question,
Yeah.
only because I apologize, I only got to go over this morning.
No, you're fine.
Were there any changes?
Yeah, you'll see on, so in Mr. Boland's lower school, if you look into board docs under your attachments, you'll be able to see the highlights. What Mr. Hare did the same thing, basically just updating in terms of making sure staff was correct, Board of Education, things like that, just cleaning up some of the language. Mr. Hare reformatted his a little bit, so it'll look significantly different than it did last year, but content basically the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier?
Yes.
Ms. Krall?
Yes.
Mr. Neale?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent to enter into an agreement with STEPS Educational Group for services for the 2022-23 school year at the cost of $85,000 per the attached agreement.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Elaborate on what the steps program.
It's an outplaced program for students with disabilities.
It's $85,000 per student?
Yes,
Okay, how many students do we have?
Just one.
Just one?
just one.
Okay. So it's 85 per student, though, okay. Okay. Anyone else? Ms. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier?
Yes.
Ms. Krall?
Yes.
Mr. Neale?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the attached addendum to the master service agreement with NCSSA, North Coast Shared Services Alliance, prepared by the governing board of the ESC of Cuyahoga County for substitute services and an increase in the daily substitution rate, increase to $150 per day for all substitutes hired through the Brooklyn Board of Education.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
A second. Questions, comments?
Ms. Bartczak, if I could just elaborate, just so we had done this probably a couple months ago, 125, met with Rachel Wixie, who's this group that does our subbing services, and basically the recommendation was to go up 25 additional dollars to $150 a day in terms of comparison, because that's where Parma's at. And so if part of it was making sure we recruit the right number of staff substitutes. What we're going to do for next school year is part of our goal is to have a fill rate of about 100%. This year we were at about 40% fill rate with our subs. So the goal is we're gonna have 2 building subs at the high school level. We want 2 building subs at the lower school level. And those are 4-day-a-week reports. They can work 5 days a week on two extra days a month, so they get 20 assignments per month. And the hope is that we're going to be able to fill our subs that way. So that's the recommendation.
I'll be honest with you, I think it's, with the way it's going and how hard it is to get subs, I think 150, we may have to look at going, I was gonna say, I think we probably, to beat out our big brother up the road, maybe we should raise it. I just, instead of raising it, I thought back a few months ago, because working in a school, I know they can't get subs. I think just to kind of like beat out the competition, and then when I did some research, when it was in our brief update that came from the state, what other school districts around the state were doing, I think we'd probably just be better off setting it at 200. I mean, because we couldn't get subs in for my building, and they were paying more than 150. We actually had an email come out from one of the principals saying, if you know anyone who would like to, I think they were offering 175 at the beginning, and then they went up. It was,
retire.
yeah. I know, Rob, you should
I'll
retire.
be-
You can
I'll be-
retire.
I'm going to be honest with you. I mean,
Why is English guys playing dodgeball?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, we're 150, we're competing with Parma. I do not have, so 150, just so everybody knows, 150 actually costs us $190.89 a day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with STRS and all those things. Like I said, I'm open to it. I don't wanna be overreactive, but we need subs, and so.
I'm gonna make your life, I'm just saying, like, easier. I think the more you're staffed and the less of
I agree. No, but listen,
yeah.
you're not. I mean, you're
Yeah.
not gonna get an argument with me, but I want to try to be fiscally responsible too, in terms of that.
That's just my
What's the
thought.
quality? I mean, we're just getting warm bodies, or?
We're getting folks through Rachel Wixie that go through their licensing process, and again, in a day-to-day situation, Rick, the those folks are gonna go where the higher rate is. I'll be honest with you. I mean, there's obviously an environmental piece for some of those folks that they don't wanna come to a school district that has big behavior issues, you know, like those
Yes.
types of things. But the daily rate drives those costs. So, I don't know, do we wanna, and I'm open to it, we can meet in the middle, I don't know. Bonnie, I think you're right, we may get to a point that I come back to you in the fall and say we need to bump up another $25 just to see where it's at. I don't know the financial impact. Like I said, I don't have their specific contract in front of me, so I can always, what I want to do is I want to get this one approved so that I can get them working on our building subs. So I could always get more information from them this week before I go out of town, and what would that look like in terms of what other districts are doing at 175 or 2. I don't know that too many are at 200. We would probably we would be one of the few in the area doing that, but again, that's an additional cost to the district.
Have we thought, and I'm sure you probably have, but I haven't answered this, about some of the teachers that are retiring? Would any of them be interested in coming back?
That's a standing
2
offer.
days a week?
It's a standing offer,
Okay.
yeah, it's a standing offer. What I would say is the building subs that we hire through the district, whatever we mirror with Rachel Wixie, we need to mirror with them.
Absolutely.
So I would say that if we approve the 150, let me get information to see if we're having, and then if we have to go doing another amendment, I'm okay with that.
Can we dangle some gas
Cheers.
cards or
You would
something?
have talked to Mrs. A.
Well,
Yeah.
my thought is I would just, and I know this, I'm out there, I would like to have a higher rate than Parma, because I think it is a money game. If I'm gonna decide to go, Parma's our next door neighbor. If I'm gonna decide I'm gonna do this, and Brooklyn has the same, Brooklyn has more than Parma, I'm gonna go to Brooklyn if I'm right in the area, and I think we'll get in a higher candidate and we'll fill our positions. Being in a school, it just, when you don't have subs and you don't have teachers, the impact it has on everything. Everything is just unbelievable. I see it day in and day out. I really do.
Do
So
we want to, I'll just throw it out there, do we want to amend the resolution to say 175, and then I can go back and I can get the contract from them?
Up to 175, I mean, it's whatever the market will
I'll
bear.
defer to you, Mrs. A, on this one
yes,
too.
what do you? I know it's a spend. I look at her. She's like, oh gosh, they're spending more money.
Here's the thing, we're spending, so for a Brooklyn City School District teacher to period sub, let's say 8 periods a day, we're roughly in the neighborhood of between $2 and $225 a day to cover all those costs. If we went up to 175, that would be a similar cost we would have our staff doing it. But I would say that part of the reason we're doing this is not financial. It's the relief on our teaching staff
Absolutely.
of the additional subbing that they have to go through on a daily basis. So maybe a recommendation of amending the resolution to say 175. I can go back to Rachel Wixie, tell them 175, go from there, but then we would and once we get a little bit further down in,
I think it's the next one.
yeah. Where's that? It's not- items.
So I have a question. Maybe I've
Yeah, it's an
misunderstood.
item.
Are
Yeah,
we
fine.
getting subs that are actually certified, or are we still taking people 18 and over that have a high school
No,
diploma?
the only subs we've hired internally are Neale and Zach Zaranek. Zach's a certified teacher, so that's a non-issue for him.
But I'm
And
talking about, but for the one that we're talking about now, for the.
they're certified.
So they got rid of that. Wasn't there like a caveat? Like
They
during COVID where
still
you
have
could-
that, but Rachel Wixie does not use that caveat.
Okay,
Rachel Wixie goes by the old standards.
okay.
We have the option as a school district to do an alternative license, but that's basically, they gotta come through superintendent and principal's office for that to happen.
Yeah, they lowered the bar.
Anyone else have any thoughts on the amount? Anyone else?
No, but if we're gonna change it, let's change it now, because the next item we have
Yeah.
We have to adjust that.
Yeah. Is she the only source for this the ESC?
That,
For supplying subs?
right now, that's who they use, correct. Yeah, they're, I'll be honest with you, I've worked with Rachel Wixie and 2 other firms before. Rachel Wixie's by far the easiest and most successful, in my opinion, to work with. They're very good about that.
Can I have a motion to amend the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, are we going with 175?
That would be my initial recommendation, yeah.
Well,
175.
we have to vote on
We have to vote on the amendments,
Yeah, the amendment.
yeah.
Okay, so, Mrs. A, can you call a roll for the vote on
Mr. Cyngier,
the, yes, on the amendment.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery,
Yes.
Mrs.
the-
Bartczak.
Yes. And now we need a vote on the amended motion and replacing the 150 with 175. Mrs. A, can you call the roll on that, please?
Mr. Cyngier,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Okay, resolve the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves employment of the following certified personnel as daily at-will building/period substitutes for the 2022-23 school year, contingent upon satisfactory completion of all credentials and background checks. Zachary Zaranek, at-will building substitute, $175 per day for the school year 2022-23. Corey Neale, at-will building substitute, $175 per day for the school year 2022-23.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second? Questions,
So,
comments?
I'm clarification,
Yeah.
do we have to vote on the amendment again and then vote on or we already did that?
Well, no, we're, this is.
We're going based on 5 point, or 4,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Got it.
We changed the policy.
Yep, you're good,
Yeah.
yep, okay.
Okay. Anyone else? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale abstain,
Abstain.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the employment of the following CATS preschool classroom assistants for 2022-23 school year, contingent upon satisfactory completion of all credentials and background checks, as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the scheduled hours for classified staff for the 2022-23 school year, as noted in this resolution.
You have to read them all.
Can I have a motion, please?
So
Can
moved.
I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Thank you for putting this on there. It really is. I like seeing this every year. I appreciate it.
No,
Thank
no
you so
problem.
much.
It
Thank
makes
you.
it's easy for our organization too, so it's, thank
I
you.
appreciate that. Thank you so much. Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following persons for 2022-23 school for supplemental assignments with provision that such individual comply with all Ohio High School Athletic Association rules and regulations and State Department of Education regulations pertaining to proper certification and/or first aid training, fulfills requirements of the job description attached to their supplemental contracts, as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So
Can
moved.
I have a second? Questions, comments?
What is it? What is a faculty?
Faculty manager, they basically help with the supervision, so let's say we have a administrator or athletic director not attend the event, they're able to go to the meeting and serve as that at-home representative
And
for,
For like
Is-
basketball
and
games
there's
and
no money attached?
no, there is.
that's what the
Oh.
point.
That's the .25
25.
FTE, so they'll each receive a quarter of that supplemental.
Okay.
Do they have voting power?
No.
Any other questions?
It really, once we really get to the winter season, that's where it really helps because like we have to send a representative to all away and home basketball games.
Yes.
So that eats up a lot of the time.
If you have a
So,
wrestling
Why do we have to
match.
do it only at winter?
no, we don't. Well,
Oh.
that's just like certain sports, OHSAA says you have to have a representative, you have to have a representative, either administrator or faculty manager at all home events.
Okay.
That's required. But OHSAA says some sports, we want you to send an administrative or faculty representative to away contest. And that happens for boys basketball, girls basketball, and I'm missing one, but I can't remember.
In case there's
right
an
now.
incident, when I was coaching, we had a couple
Yeah.
incidents, and the faculty manager had to be there to witness it or try and straighten it out as well, too.
Yeah.
So,
It's typically the sports that.
even
that
though the
have
coach is
most-
there, his job's
Yeah.
not really to be the faculty manager, to take care of
It's
the
hockey
team.
sometimes,
Yeah.
like those, some of those events we send them to.
I'm surprised not football, you know. usually-
Oh, yeah.
I've seen him at football.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
but-
football,
but-
there's the one I forgot,
I was
football.
gonna say, I'm surprised they're not required for
Yeah.
football.
But Mike
Yeah.
usually goes to all the,
Okay.
Mike usually goes to all the football games, no matter what happens. So,
Okay. All right, just curious.
Yep.
Anyone else? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Yes, I will, but I think there is an error
Where?
on the, it says no cost to the district.
Oh,
So,
that's.
so I think that's what Ms. Krall was.
Okay, so I'll remove that from
Yeah.
the executive content, but
Yeah,
yeah.
there was a,
Yeah,
I think
I
there
got
was
you.
just a
Thank you.
copy.
I didn't read that anyways.
I didn't even see that. I didn't see
My
that.
thumb was on it.
Mr. Singer,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale abstained,
Abstain.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following persons for the 2022-23 supplemental assignments for the provisions. Such individuals comply with all Ohio High School Athletic Association rules and regulations and the State Department of Education regulations pertaining to proper certification and/or first aid training, fulfills the requirements of the job descriptions attached to their supplemental contracts as noted.
I'm gonna motion this one. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Questions, comments?
I believe the same carryovers in this one were.
Yep, I see it, yep, I'll take it up there.
Yep. I would also like to just say, a comment that I have is, one of the people listed on here was actually recognized for his coaching, and I know he's a volunteer football coach, and he's an assistant girls varsity and boys soccer coach. He was actually just recognized for the Jerry Younger coach,
Yeah, we
this
did
past
hear-
weekend.
yeah.
And Rob Previtz was actually one of those that received it. I just seen that, and I think that, just to point that out, that it says a lot about him as obviously as a coach that,
He used to be the athletic director at St. Thomas More. I've known him for a long time. And to hear the students, it's kind of a neat thing that Harry McCormick did with that foundation, is not only awarding the student athletes the scholarship, the athletes get to write about a coach or a teacher that has really kind of just enlightened them and helped them along the way. And to listen to these kids give their talks, Dr. Ted, you were here, it was
powerful.
unbelievable. I mean, it's really amazing that, it's nice to see that these kids have someone who's made such an impact coming from our group of educators and coaches. It's awesome.
He's a stand-up guy.
That kind of mentorship can last a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, we had Mr. Zudi as a teacher here, and I could get, 2 miles long of people that would get in that line to award him. I mean, he was such a teacher that he was able to reach kids. I mean, he worked some magic with some kids that probably wouldn't have made it through, but, he reached them.
anyone else? Zay, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery,
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak?
Yes.
Resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following resignations. Chelsea Kretz, long-term 7th ELA substitute teacher, Corey Neale, classroom assistant.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
A second. Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale,
Abstain.
Mr. Slattery,
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the employment of the following student worker, 6 hours per day, effective June 13, 2022 through August 12, 2022, at a rate of $9.30 per hour. Oscar Davis.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
I have a question, just related to the Ohio Checkbook. Are these student workers considered district workers where they would show up? Because if they're minors, would they show up in the Ohio Checkbook?
They'll show up in payroll.
They'll show up in payroll, so you won't see their names, but they will be, they'll show up in payroll as a group.
Okay, and you wouldn't be able to search salaries, because they're not, okay.
Anyone else? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery,
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves parental leave of absence for Carissa Stefanson?
Stefanson.
Stefanson? I'm terrible with names. Starting approximately November 4th, 2022 The length of leave is to be determined.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Questions, comments? Oh, can I have a second? Sorry, second? Yes, second, please. Question, no, questions, comments?
I have a question. Are school employees, or I guess any employee in the district covered by HIPAA laws? Okay, so this is not considered just because they're on a leave, there's no.
No, we're
there's
just,
no
yeah,
detail.
this, so,
Okay.
so you're able to see the letter under the executive action. No one, the public cannot see that, but we're just approving the leave in terms of just
Okay.
making sure that she's covered from a standpoint for her employment practices. Yeah.
Anyone else? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier?
Yes.
Ms. Krall?
Yes.
Mr. Neale?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the amended certificate of estimated resources for FY 2022.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier?
Yes.
Ms. Krall?
Yes.
Mr. Neale?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak?
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the final amended appropriations for FY 22.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier?
Yes.
Ms. Krall?
Yes.
Mr. Neale?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
God bless you. Mrs. Bartczak?
Yes.
Is that for her or me?
God bless you.
I'll take it. I'll take half of it. Resolved that Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the temporary appropriations for FY 23.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
So these are the temporary appropriations passing for fiscal year '23, so we could allow the district to start spending money. And the previous ones that we did were a final appropriations to close out the year, and then the estimated resources to close out the year too of how much money that we received. So they're all Ohio revised code that we have to do.
Anyone else? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier?
Yes.
Ms. Krall?
Yes.
Mr. Neale?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak?
Yes. Now, board business, a discussion for the superintendent treasurer's evaluation. Discussion.
Yeah.
Yes, so-
You guys tell me what you're looking for again.
So the meeting on July 12th, we could have the board attorney, Matt, come with the evaluation forms, and we could meet with him. So we don't make another meeting, it could just be him and the board, and he'll be able to go through. Yeah, that's already said,
I'm looking
yeah.
up the calendar.
Yeah, that's already set, so that he could go through the whole process with Kelly, with all of us again, but you'll be able to ask all your questions, and then we'll only have to meet one more time with, yeah, for the evaluation after that.
July 12th.
Yeah, it's July 12th.
So I talked to Bonnie Thursday, Friday,
Yeah.
whenever we talked. Matt has that date held for us, so he would come in, I'll have it as an executive session,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
So we can go through, that process. That's all I would have on the agenda that evening. And I'm assuming you would not need Colleen and I that night?
No, the only other thing that we may have on the agenda is the approval for the board of the Ohio checkbook resolution. If we could, that would be the only thing.
If you want to get it over with?
Yeah, like, so if we want to get that on there. if you-
That's fine.
Then, but yeah, you guys should still, you don't have to come for just that part. I mean, yeah, there's no reason for you guys to have to
We'll
stick
give you a
around for that.
thumbs down or thumbs up.
Yeah, yeah, he'll take the notes. Rocky, I've already pointed
So
you.
then since we're talking about it, so the 12th, just Matt, 6 o'clock, going to executive.
Yep.
And we'll have the one resolution for our checkbook. That'll be it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Rocky is used to catered events though. so-
Yeah, so, yeah.
So can I ask then, since we're talking about this, let's talk about the 19th, because right now, I still have some outstanding staffing assignments that we need to hire. A couple classroom assistants, cleaners,
July 19th?
so we have a meeting scheduled the 12th.
Yeah,
I thought it was the 18th. Am I wrong? I thought it was the 18th, I could be wrong.
19th.
19.
19th, okay. Yeah, I'm wrong again.
So
Nothing's changed.
I potentially, I get back from vacation, so I'll be back in the week of the 11th.
okay.
28.
So I could probably, I may, and again, it'll be a limited agenda, just FYI, but if you need additional time in executive for the evaluation, like, what do you think?
We're thinking about another meeting then where it would be, because this is like Kelly's first time going through the evaluation, so a separate then meeting, like, to where we'll just do the one meeting on the 12th so that we have that meeting, and then a separate meeting to where it's Matt, the board and you two going over all of it.
So we'll do that as a special.
Yeah, special, like a
Okay,
special
yeah.
meeting to where we'll just do executive session, nothing else but that, so it
So
will
we'll
just
do
be
that as a special.
special executive
We can
session
clean
only.
things up.
Yeah.
For what you're looking for, and then go into executive session, right? Is that what?
No, I'm saying like we would just do it as,
Just
that
like
would just
on
be,
that.
no,
Got
no,
it.
no,
All right.
no, because that we would just do it as executive session so that it would be not like a special meeting, nothing
All right.
else going on, so for like
So are you-
posting
So do you want,
purposes.
so when you're there with Matt on the 12th, do you just want to do you guys want to arrange a date for the special meeting so that we
Yeah,
can?
yeah, we
Because I
will.
don't have anything scheduled in July. I'm assuming you're going to want to get this done in July.
Yeah, like just as soon as, like if we can, after we meet with the 12th, we'll have some stuff to do on our end, so I don't know how long it will take each of us, to go through it.
Yeah,
And
so,
then,
yeah,
you know-
Matt sent us the sheets already. So by the 19th, I definitely can have that to Matt with all of our input. Does that, the 19th work for you?
Yeah, and so then we'd have to have time to review it, so we'd probably look for a date in August for us, for us then,
That's
for in
fine.
August, if that's good.
Yeah.
So then on the 19th, we'll go over and we'll do the agenda items that you have or anything that may come up, and the 12th will.
So how about this, if we're gonna have something for the 19th, how about I just put Ohio Checkbook on the 19th?
That's fine. That's good.
And then the 12th can just be executive session.
that's fine.
And
Talking
then we
about
can.
the week.
Yeah, that's
Well,
fine.
no,
Yeah.
right, and then,
That's
and then it's a true work
That's
session, then I
fine.
don't have to add
Yep.
all
Yeah,
the,
the
Yeah.
checkbook is
Yeah,
okay,
not a
That's fine.
priority, but it's a priority.
yeah,
that's fine, and then, so it's perfect, okay.
okay. Thank you. Now, of course, do we have any correspondence related to action information?
So we have a meeting June 28th.
Yes.
Correct.
Zoom, 8 o'clock, yes,
Zoom,
I will
8
be,
o'clock.
I'll be zooming from sunny Florida.
Oh, yeah, life is rough for
I
you,
know,
Dr.
right?
Claris, since you're zooming in
from
from,
Charlotte,
zooming from
or on my
Charlotte.
way to Charlotte.
I will, and I just so, I talked to Bonnie about this, so everybody knows. So the agenda on the 28th, I will make it live on Friday, and I'll send a copy of that to the board. But Mr. Bowen is still interviewing one of the candidates for
Okay.
first grade. He's doing it on Saturday because she comes back from out of town. So I'm going to meet with the final candidate on Sunday.
Okay,
Go from there. So what I will do is, so when you see the agenda on Friday, the name's not gonna be there yet.
Okay.
As soon as we have the recommendation, I'll add that. I should have the Title I done by the end of the day Friday. But again, it's a very limited, quick meeting. And then I'll try to push everything I can to the 19th for additional hearings.
okay.
So that actually that's better because it gives me an additional week.
Do you have any other business? Okay, and then announcement of the next regular board meeting it's at 8 a.m., correct?
It is at 8 a.m.
It says it's 6 p.m.
Oh.
here. So Tuesday, June 28th, work session, Treasurer's Conference Room, 9200. Well, it's
Zoom.
Zoom, so we aren't, so there's no, it's a Zoom, should we just say that it's a Zoom meeting?
Yeah, so we posted it that way, and so.
Okay, so-
So what Bobby's he's gonna be a co-host with us, he's gonna
Okay.
record, and as soon as we're done at the meeting, he's gonna go right to the posting on the website.
Okay, and that's at 8 a.m., and it's a Zoom meeting
Yes.
on Tuesday, the 28th. Okay? Can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Ms. Krall.
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.